What do you do, guys? It is your boy, Leon Mookie here, back with you with another new part of What If Izuku Was the Green Beetle? This is part 2. In the last part, we went over on the origin of how Izuku got the Green Beetle scarab, going on that of a school trip to that of Star Labs, being the Japanese branch of Star Labs, actually, where it's somewhat similar to that of its DC counterparts. Instead, they're focusing on that of the evolution and mystery and development of quirks, while also keeping under wraps of certain technology as well. During this field trip, a certain little piece of alien tech beyond the stars came in contact, or rather reacted to its new host, that being Izuku. It ended up sneaking into his backpack before soon taking over his body and giving him one mission: to destroy the Blue Beetle, who is basically the second strongest pro in America. Even though wanting this, the Green Beetle also wants to help Izuku achieve his dream to become a hero. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? After a couple days later, Izuku has to go to that of the hospital, mainly to go and get it checked out about the scarab. Mainly because Inko was kind of worried. To her, she believes that the scarab was basically a quirk that manifests through that of his back and creates that of an exoskeleton suit of armor. However, Izuku also even that of the scarab as well, which he's still working on trying to find a name for it, already knows the truth. However, Izuku goes through that of multiple medical procedures, with them even trying to find out what the heck it is, with them finding out that it's been infused into that of Izuku's very skin, his nervous system, and his DNA. To some professionals, they believe that this is some kind of, mechanical parasite. However, seeing that it's part of his DNA, given that this is a quirk-based society, many doctors rule it over that it possibly could have been Izuku be that of a late bloomer, and his quirk manifest in that of a green scarab-like crystal, which allows him to activate his quirk. To Izuku, he hated the fact that he was basically lying about his quirk after all. Hell, he basically despised the fact that he's lying that this isn't his quirk. However, the scarab basically tells Izuku and tries to console him that this is the better way, instead of people trying to, rip her off of him after all. Which, if they do try to rip her off, let's just say that Izuku's going to go through immense pain before basically dying. Mainly from the aftershock of having something that was basically ripped off both his nervous system and DNA as well. With coming to this realization, Izuku now dubbing his quirk Beetle, actually, because he's actually able to transform into a beetle. For example, they even went through that of a bit of test. At first, Izuku didn't know how to activate it until Scarab basically went through that of a tutorial setting, helping him understand his quirk. Unlike that of the Reaches, Scarabs, which literally take over a person's body, both body and mind, rewriting it and basically doing whatever they want to so they can basically destroy and weaken the planet's defense systems to allow the Reach to invade a planet easier. The Horizon, on the other hand, when they create their scarabs for their host, the scarabs act as more of a guide, a way to help their host adapt and easily get used to them, to be honest. So in a way, Izuku didn't have to feel like he's basically struggling each and every hour to try and activate the armor. Instead, Scarab tells him that the best way to activate the armor is normally through that of focusing on something that will basically seem determined. to force Izuku to feel motivated to activate the suit, to activate the armor. For example, what Izuku had to save somebody, protect them, using that as a visualizer and as a motivation. Izuku was able to at least transform his body. However, there are other things that Izuku can also do, that being able to create weapons similar to that of the blue beetle, actually. However, the green scarab has things that not even the blue beetle has, though. But over time, Izuku needs to figure that out himself. Not even the green scarab is aware of her abilities, at least not yet. Not knowing the reason why, it's most likely that the Horizon, not wanting that of a, blue beetle situation, red or black beetle, the Horizon scarabs basically evolve alongside their host. The more that their host basically develops and improves with their scarab, the scarab also unlocks its other abilities, which means Izuku needs to work his ass off way more if he wants to unlock the scarab's true powers. However, in case of, extreme emergencies, the scarab can take control over the host body, mainly only to that of defend the body, to defend the host and keep them both alive after all. A prime example for this, the very next day, Izuku went back to school right after he changed his quirk registry from that of quirkless to quirked, and having the name being Beetle. At first, a few of the teachers didn't really believe that Izuku actually gained a quirk. Some even believed that he was only doing this so he would be treated a lot more nicely. However, that changed during that of, every junior high school and high school actually has to have that of a class where the students have to find a way to improve their quirks or to at least try to find ways to use them properly. Such quirk called quirk fundamentals. During this class, normally Bakugo is always the one that always shines the most. Given that the school allows him to use his quirk all he wants, he basically has all the reason to show off. However, when Izuku decided to use the scarab, he didn't want to use the armor as a whole. So, Scarab basically taught him how to just use to bring out certain parts of the armor instead, such as one of the support gears that he planned on making for himself when he wanted to apply for UA, such as a hand cannon. The original design was to basically generate enough energy to create that of a blast of kinetic force. However, now with the help of the scarab, it just turned into a pure energy blast, which everybody was shocked, surprised, and completely, utterly dumbfounded about Izuku being able to use that, actually do now have a quirk. Even the people who used to belittle and look down on him were actually downright caught off guard. However, for Bakugo, on the other hand, he basically reacted just the way that anyone else did, just like he would in canon. Basically tried to blow up Izuku, with Izuku freaking out and scared for his life, seeing his tormentor just rage at him. The scarab soon took over his body and defended himself, creating that of an energy dome shield from its back to defend Izuku. Within, Bakugo trying to hit Izuku with that of multiple explosions over and over and over and over and over again, to the point that the teachers actually kind of had enough and tried to tell Bakugo to stop. However, due to the teachers always constantly, praising Bakugo for doing whatever the hell he wants, he wouldn't listen to them this time, which he kept on going to the point that he literally just had to exhaust himself to the point that he went down to his knees. Even though the more he sweats, the more powerful his explosions are. But given that the Scarab's energy shields are literally more powerful than his explosions, you could just see on what happened. Within, Izuku, a little bit looking down nervously at Bakugo in his new suit. Within, Bakugo say, "Damn you, you damn nerd! How long have you lied to?" With then Suit Izuku saying, I didn't lie to you, Kachan. I'm telling the truth. I just got it. I didn't do anything. With then Suit Bakugo screaming, bullshit! You had to lie to me! You had to be making fun of me constantly, you damn worthless nerd! How long? With then Suit looking at one of his teachers, with it saying, how long have you all known that Deku was lying? With then their quirk fundamentals teacher saying, Bakugo, calm down. Midoriya just turned in out of his quirk registry. They just said that he awakened his quirk a couple days ago. With then Suit Bakugo could help but grit his teeth in that of anger, frustration, and pissed. With it saying, bullshit. I call all bullshit. It's not right. It goes against everything. With it Suit gritting his teeth in that of pure frustration before walking off. Now that classes have actually fully ended, within soon everybody begins to feel a little bit nervous. Within Izuku soon reverting back into his exoskeleton soon goes back into his body. However, there's only one downside though, which Izuku and the Scarab still haven't found a problem for. Every time when Izuku uses his exoskeleton, it burns away his clothes, whatever the hell he's wearing. From shirts, to pants, to socks, to shoes, to underwear. Yeah, Izuku completely ends up naked when using the suit. Which him and the Scarab have not found any way to prevent that now. They're still trying, but it's easier said than done. But still, it's a work in progress. Unfortunately, even though Izuku has grown stronger and is starting to develop, well, with people actually starting to like him more, now that he has a quote-unquote quirk, people are starting to like him more. People are starting to treat him a lot more better. And some people who used to bully him, belittle him, or even think that he was weird, now actually start to like him because he's just like them now. He's one of them now. Which in a way, you would think that it would actually make Izuku happy, know that he's welcome now. But given that these were the same people who used to belittle him, beat him, mock him, and basically always used to side with Bakugo on a daily, now basically are two-faced to the point that they think that all that taunting and bullying is just, well, erased so easily. And unlike Bakugo, Izuku doesn't have an ego. And this Izuku doesn't forget or forgive that easily, which Izuku decides to ignore and basically, well, keep his distance from all the people who used to look down on him constantly. Hell, even though praise that he gets from his teachers that basically try to look after him now, given that he's basically another golden boy for their school if he gets into that of a hero school after all. So to be honest, it just pisses him off even more. In a way, he always didn't like to be at Aldera because of the bullying and because of how much people didn't give a damn about him. But now he just can't stand the school. He can't stand the people. He can't stand on how two-faced everybody is at Aldera, to the point that he begins to basically hate everybody. Not to the point of basically wanting them harm or him harming them back. More like they just disgust him. But Izuku knows that this is just the society that they live in. This is how people basically treat those with that of flashy, powerful, and amazing quirks, after all. It's just how it's always been. And wonder if it's possible to change that, to be honest. However, if All Might could change society for the better, why can't he, with then Izuku having that of a determination to actually want to change hero society for the better, not just wanting to save people, not just wanting to protect them. He generally wants to change, so two-facedness like this doesn't happen again. As Izuku goes through that of a revelation. However, at Star Labs, for the past couple of days, They've been basically going through that of multiple security cameras after security cameras to find out what happened to the scarab, especially getting in contact with the current Blue Beetle being Jaime, with Adam saying, sorry about this, Jaime. If we knew that something like this was going to happen, with Finn saying, don't worry, Adam. Honestly, even I'm surprised that this happened. Personally, the scarab never really done that unless it reacts to the closest person that they recognize as their host. With then soon, Jaime saying, yeah, did anybody come here that was pretty, out of the blue? With then soon, Adam basically scratching his blonde locks before saying, personally, not really. Besides the kids that came here about a couple days ago during that field trip, no one else basically changed anything. Heck, we haven't even got any contact about what has happened. With then soon Jaime saying, did you just say kids? Like how old? I think they came from the local junior high school here in Masafu, actually. If I recall, the name was Aldera Junior High. With then soon Jaime eyes widening in shock saying, you think you guys could have brought that up earlier? With then soon Adam saying, crap. There may be a chance, and I mean a small chance, that it could be him. You got somebody in mind? Within Adam basically saying, there was this kid, and I mean this kid that I remember that I tried to comfort up. Turns out he's quirkless, just like you, actually. With then Jaime's eyes winding, Chuck saying, Dios mío. Okay, go on, saying, all right then. Looks like he went through bullying. He might have gone through bullying, gave him a pep talk, and there's a chance that the scarab may have stuck around with him. And personally to him, he probably doesn't even realize that it's basically alien tech. Within Jaime saying, nope, he probably realized it is alien tech, but he probably didn't think that it came from here at Star Labs. Within somebody saying, of course he would know. You said it was Reach Tech. I mean Horizon Tech, not Reach. With it saying, Scarab talking to you again, saying, yeah, it is. Anyway, you know the kid's name? With soon, Adam saying, I think his name was Izuku Midoriya, if I recall. Saying, Izuku Midoriya. Alright, I'll go and try to talk to him. With it saying, what? Soon, saying, are you sure about that? Saying, I got this. Trust me. I am not the number 2 pro in America for nothing. But given I'm going against something that the rivals of the Reach made, Deseame molte, as he says good luck in Spanish. With then Sue, Adam saying, oh boy, I better call a few local pros in case this thing gets ugly. With Adam basically calling the local police force and also that of a few pro heroes in the area as well. With Jaime, as he's currently in the elevator, about to message somebody. With then soon his own scarab, aka the blue scarab, speaks to his host saying, Jaime Reyes, going against that of a scarab that is made by the Horizon is dangerous, especially given that they may not know that I have basically been reprogrammed. With then soon Jaime saying, well, I mean, all we just need to do is explain to the kid and to the scarab that you're not with the Reach anymore. Simple as that. Saying, probability of success happening, Jaime Reyes, is basically 10%. Hey, that's 10% more than basically 5 or 0. So I'll take those 10% odds. With then saying, do what you wish, Jaime Reyes, but if the scarab and its holder plans on trying to kill us, then actions must be taken. All right. I'm not, but just remember, with the suit, the scarab saying, no killing, understood. Saying, good boy. Within, as Jaime pulls out his phone saying, hey, it's me. Yeah, we found out where the scarab is. With then finishing speaking on the person on the phone saying, I promise I'll make it up to you. I swear it. Date night's on me. Promise. With then Jaime hanging up his phone before saying, I'm going to have to make it up to her pretty badly. Saying, hormone levels pretty high, Jaime Reyes. Shut up. Just make a course route around that of Aldera Junior High. Within soon, Jaime getting inside of his own exoskeleton suit as he shows himself as the Blue Beetle. Within soon, flying up into the air himself. Within, the scarab saying, trajectory found. At least that's of a 30-minute drive away. 10 minutes by that of by train ride. 30 minutes if by walking. For us, it will only take us 5 minutes. Saying, figures. Soon flying off and heading to Aldera Junior High. As the day comes to an end, Izuku had another day of people basically trying to cozy up and basically try to be nice to him. Even even going through that of to his shoe locker. Instead of getting like that of death threats or basically the usual pranks that are pulled on him, he got a love letter as Izuku blushed like crazy seeing this letter. However, realizing that it's probably from a girl that only liked him now that he has a quirk, he basically doesn't even bother going to it. As the scarab saying, do you not wish to go to the letter? Izuku Midoriya saying, why should I? I'm already aware that it's somebody pretending to want to be with me. After all, they probably only want me because of you. With Din saying, most definitely, but you don't know if that's necessary. If not, saying, I know, I just do. With Din too, as Izuku basically tossed the love letter into the trash while walking away. As Izuku continues to walk home, he soon noticed that a certain somebody goes through that, basically walks in front of him as being Jaime, saying, hey, you're Izuku Midoriya, right? I'm not getting the wrong person, to be honest. Within soon, Izuku's eyes wide in shock, saying, you're, saying, hey, I'm Jaime. You're Jaime Reyes, the Blue Beetle! Then soon, but hearing that, the scarab soon goes crazy, saying, Reach Tech identified. Blue Scarab. Reach Tech. Threat. Current threat level. Rank S. With soon, Izuku soon reverts into his armor. Within, the black skin substance burns right through that of his clothes before the green armored shell basically wraps around his chest, his shoulders, his forearms, and his shins and feet. Within saying, wait, what? No! I told you that! With saying, oh boy. Within soon, Jaime Scarab saying, Jaime Reyes, I think this is the point when I say, Yotarei son. Within saying, don't be snippy. Don't be speaking Spanish and snippy to me. Seeing the armored Green Beetle. Within soon, Jaime not even transformed, saying, please listen to me. Listen. I know that you can listen. I know you can hear me, Midoriya, right? Then your scarab can also hear me as well. I'm not your enemy. I'm not a threat. Me and Blue aren't with the Reach. Not only that, he's not even controlling me. If you want to know, then link with my scarab. Within soon, as the armor was about to create that of a pulse blaster, within pointing it straight at Jaime. Within soon, Izuku saying, "Please don't attack him." Within saying, "How do we know that we can trust him? How do we know that he's being manipulated?" As soon as I connect with his scarab, he could infect me as well. Reach, when it comes to tech like this, Reach is basically find some way. It depends on that of the willpower of the wielder. if you do not have a strong will, you can be infected and influenced by that of the reach tech inside of the scarab. Saying, I don't think he's lying. I can tell by looking at his eyes. He's not lying. And if he is, then we just need to fight back, right? I may not be ready, but that doesn't mean I'm just gonna sit by and do nothing. Like I said, I trust you. You need to trust me too. As Izuku stays quiet for a bit before speaking up once again, saying, please, Kochin. Then soon, the scarab begins saying, Kochin? Saying, you said you wanted me to give you... I did say I wanted to give you a name, so I thought Kochin would fit, actually. Sorry if it doesn't sound as female, saying, I am not technically male or female. Just because my voice sounds feminine doesn't mean... does not matter. Thank you for the name, Izuku Midoriya. I will cherish it. As Kochin says this, it almost sounds, well, happy, even if it's still in a monotone voice. Then soon, Izuku soon no longer on guard, as he now has full control over his body again. Within soon, Jaime also goes into his Blue Beetle armor formed as well. Within, two antennae soon emerge from the scarab's back, wanting to link with the green. And the same also does this from Izuku's back as well, as the two antennae soon merge with one another. As they connect, both Izuku and Jaime are in that of somewhat of a DNA mental mindscape, with seeing that of multiple atoms and that of DNA strands everywhere. Within, seeing that of two giant scarabs, one that looks female, while the other looks quite male. The female being that of the green scarab, while the other being that of a male scarab. Within soon, Kochin speaks up, with the voice being a lot more clearer, but still in a monotone and bored tone, saying, it seems you are telling the truth. All reach influence has been removed from your scarab. It seems that I am quite impressed with, then soon, the blue scarab, or as Jaime likes to call him, just blue, saying affirmative. I have been, due to my connection with Jaime Reyes, and I have also suffered that of severe damage to my scarab body during a certain confrontation when I was soon sent flying and nearly destroyed. With then soon Jaime saying it was an accident about a couple years back. It was when I was a kid. It was when I was about to go into high school, actually. Turns out I was on my way back home, and soon an explosion happened in Star Labs. I didn't understand the situation back then, but the original Blue Beetle, Ted Cord, CEO of Cord Industries, died that day, trying to defend a bunch of villains that was actually planning to steal the scarab. However, the original Blue Beetle died in that fight, trying to defend it. I ended up getting the powers of the scarab, and after graduating hero school and becoming a pro, I became the new and improved Blue Beetle, as people like to say. But to me, there's one Blue Beetle, and then there's me. Found out about the Reach a few years back, to be honest. After dealing with a certain little legal trouble with Ted Cord's daughter, who soon became your fiancé, Jaime Reyes. With Jaime blushing, saying, not the point right now, Blue. The point is, she tried to take the scarab back. I couldn't, because it was now tied to my DNA. And unless she was willing to want to bring up the fact that a newly graduated pro hero died without even getting a chance to step up onto the scene just yet, she decided to cover me by being my sponsor. Basically, I was sponsored by that of Cord Industries as my pro hero agent sponsor. And since then, things have been the same. When I found out about the Reach, it's due to a certain little incident with two other scarab users who worked for the Reach. Sent them packing, but don't know how long it's going to be until they decide to come back. When I also heard about the Horizon, though, people who are just like that of the Reach, but against them, I was a little bit worried that some of their scarabs that do end up coming here, when finding out the fact about the blue scarab being here, their user, alongside the scarab themselves, may try to attack me, and a battle between that of two scarab users within Izuku saying could lead to basically an entire city block or maybe an entire city being flattened, I'm guessing. With Jaime snapping his fingers saying, "There you go, kid. Exactly." It's that very reason why I wanted to make sure that when the scarab got its user, I could basically explain. The scarab basically appeared here in Japan about that of 2 years ago. Its host hasn't been reactive yet, but we've been keeping an eye on it in case it does here at the Star Labs here in Masafu. And then when I basically goes out after my daily checkup on the scarab, little and behold, it ends up getting away, sneaking out for a couple of years and find its perfect little host. And it ended up being a middle schooler. But then Izuku blushing saying, "I guess I'm not exactly what you thought," right? Saying, honestly, when the Reach came, they didn't expect that the blue beetle would end up being that of a high schooler either. So to be honest, I can't judge. Within soon, both Izuku and Jaime couldn't help but laugh. Within finishing their laugh, Izuku looks up to Kensho saying, "Kensho, so does this satisfy you?" Saying, "Affirmative. It does now satisfy me, Izuku Midoriya. With now knowing that the blue scarab is no threat and is also an ally in the battle against the Reach, I will not seek any more. My mission parameters to destroy the blue beetle have now been corrected. Now my new mission parameters is to keep my host safe and protect him and any other Reach and agents who plan to attack this planet as well." With then soon, Izuku saying, "Okay then." With that, Jaime saying, "Well, I think it's time we get out of this." Blue saying, "Affirmative, Jaime Reyes." Within soon, the link comes to that of an end as they both soon revert back into the real world. However, little did people realize that, well, they had a bit of an audience, that being a few pro heroes, a couple of police, and some civilians who saw that of the blue beetle with that of somebody looking exactly like a green version of the blue beetle. With it soon reverting the armor back to Jaime, within Izuku doing the exact same thing. However, instead, his school uniform completely ripped again and him being naked once more. Within Izuku still having his bag and covering himself, saying, "Why does this always happen?" Within soon, Jaime saying, "Trust me, you just gotta get used to it. You'll figure it out in some time." I did. Within soon, while blushing, Jaime soon clears up the situation that he found that Jaime was actually looking for that of a successor, somebody similar to him with the exact same quirk. Figured that somebody did, he now found that successor, that being Izuku, which is basically the excuse that he gives to a few of the pros that are nearby, that being Def Arms and Kamui Woods, who just started out actually. However, Jetwing, on the other hand, the same pro that Izuku escaped from a few days ago, was a little suspicious looking at Izuku, thinking that, especially in his beetle form, that he looked way too familiar. However, the air-based pro couldn't put it together though, and decided to go off on his own. Soon after the crowd dispersed, Izuku basically walked all the way back home. However, instead, he's in his armor, which means that He's based to make sure that nobody can see him naked. However, the black skin substance around his face and the face plated armor around his forehead have basically been removed, so it doesn't cover his face, so it doesn't get in the way, and so people can see his face. But then Jaime saying, "Damn, you had it rough just as much as I did. Worst part is I had at least a family that actually supported me in my goals. Hell, originally I didn't even want to be a hero." With then Izuku saying, "Wait, really?" Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was mainly interested in being either a scientist or a lawyer. Either one of those two. I could, but I guess that wasn't on the cards either, given that Destiny said otherwise by telling me I gotta be a hero. And personally, I don't regret it one bit. Given all the crazy stuff in my life, I still love it all the same. Within, Izuku couldn't help but smile, thinking, "You're a really great person, Jaime." With Jaime scratching the back of his head saying, "Aw, the nada. Izuku, I really appreciate that a lot. Still, I want to figure out a way where I don't have to basically burn away all my clothes just to transform, though." Saying, "Trust me, you'll get to it. May take you at least a year, though. Took me a year to get used to that. I literally had to basically carry around a bag of spare clothes, 3 or 2 bags of spare clothes, and especially underwear. Lots and lots of underwear. I'll keep that in mind, because I'm really getting tired of always having to burn through that of my school uniforms, especially gym uniforms too. I'm just glad that I'm actually used to basically transforming into just turning parts of my body into what I need for combat instead of my whole body." But then Jaime basically shocked and surprised, saying, "Wait, you could turn portions of your body? Not entirely?" Saying, yeah, you never." Within sued, Jaime actually having that of annoyed look in his face, while basically having that of a mental, conversation with his scarab. Within sued, Izuku saying, "I'm guessing he did have an easier time with his scarab then. Glad I got you, Kochin." Within, Kochin saying, "Agreed here, Izuku Midoriya." Saying, "Can you just call me Izuku?" Saying, Maybe one day, Izuku Midoriya, but not today." After what happened yesterday, though, the news had that of a field day that number 2 ranked hero of America found successor, current boy Izuku Midoriya of local city of Masafu, which basically made things a lot more harder on Izuku, mainly at school, with people basically wanting to suck up to him even more than before, now having that of a pro hero basically interested in him. And then you got those like Bakugo who are completely and utterly aggressive, angry, and pissed, even to the point that he declared war on Izuku, to the point that he'll basically prove that he's the best, that he doesn't need handouts to become the number 1 hero, unlike that of Izuku. Heck, even the teachers basically giving him that of basically special treatment, basically telling him that he can leave classes early whenever he wants, that he can do whatever, that he could basically speak and talk all he wants, mutter too, and all that other stuff as well. Let's just say Izuku is not a big fan of the current, treatment that he has. You would think that he would prefer it, but all he wants is just people to treat him normally. Treat him like he's a person, not an object or a thing or a celebrity or anything like that. He just wants to be seen as him. And I guess this is exactly how people see that of pro heroes, after all. And this is how they see them. Then Izuku's need to get used to it, and possibly even express that this isn't who he truly is, that he's more than this, more than being the so-called successor of the Blue Beetle. However, during this time, Izuku begins to train even more, developing and incorporating his ideas for support gears into that of his arsenal and weaponry. He already used that of the prototypes that he already planned on using from the very beginning, but now that he actually has a literal suit that can basically make whenever he wants to make, after all, let's just say the creativity for Izuku is going to branch out crazy. especially that there are still more abilities to that of the Green Beetle than that he doesn't know about just yet. And it makes Izuku excited, with even getting at least some advice from that of Jaime, as he also has his own little special weapons that he likes to create himself as well. Given that since their tech and abilities are pretty similar, the same, Izuku can incorporate them into his own fighting style too. However, Jaime even brought up the idea that Izuku needs to learn martial arts, that he can't just keep on blasting people or flying away or avoiding people as well. He needs to learn on how to fight up close and personal as well. When Izuku did try to fight, he tried to emulate All Might, since he was his hero and he inspired him after all. But for Jaime and Blue, on the other hand, though, let's just say they both said at the exact same time, even though Izuku couldn't hear Blue saying, "You are one diehard fanboy." With hearing that, Izuku couldn't help but blush before Kochin saying, "They are absolutely right," with it also being attacked by his own scarab as well. After being constantly teased about that, Izuku had to learn on how to fight from a different way. Instead, he needed to fight out from different outlets. First outlet to actually work out quite well, Bakugo, for example. Izuku is aware on how Bakugo fights, constantly propelling himself all over the place with his explosions, besides just constantly blasting people as well. Izuku is aware that Bakugo does work hard using his quirk and trains hard too. However, he lets the ego and praise that he gets from everybody, go to his head so much to the point that he thinks that everyone else doesn't train, everyone else doesn't work hard, everyone else is basically beneath him because of it. Believing that he is the only one who actually is worthy of anything when everyone else is just as hard, works just as much. But even so, this is Bakugo we're talking about. So that's one outlet that he's able to learn from. Then he learns from that of Jaime, who actually took up that of self-defense using that of weapons, such as that of swords, knives, blades, daggers, all that. Given that, that's one of his favorite fighting styles, to be honest. Mainly using weapons to defend himself, given that he literally is wearing a weapon and is a weapon right now. So Jaime, being the Blue Beetle, is another outlet that he can use to incorporate in close quarters combat. But he needs to learn other ways to counter, parry, striking, and also countering when he's in up close combat, and needs to get up there when out if he can't always just blast his way through everything, which took longer than expected. Basically, he looked up tons of martial arts lessons, even asked his mom if he could take martial arts lessons. At first, she was a little bit on the fence about it, because again, even though to her, the scarab being a quirk for Izuku, she still doesn't want him being a hero. But seeing on how much he's improved, and that an actual pro hero, a top 10 pro hero from another country, also sees great potential in him as well, she decided to basically give in and help Izuku find people to help him train in martial arts. First style he tried to learn being that of karate, which there was a local dojo in Masafu actually. It's not big named, but they do the job well and help those who have that of, quirk, who want to defend themselves if they get caught by that of a villain and need to wait on a hero to help them out. It's mainly a class just for self-defense. Nothing too serious or basically devoting themselves to improve themselves beyond that of a human being, after all. After that, Izuku did at least that of a couple of months of lessons to help him improve. After that, it wasn't really much after much. So he learned at least a bit of karate, to be honest. Soon after, he decided wanting to learn other styles of martial arts, such as that of judo as well. Also wanting to get that of grapples too. So he took up that of ninjutsu too, so he can at least be a lot more agile. And turns out, every time that Izuku learns a new fighting style, his armor basically shifts, morphs, and basically mimics his body perfectly, so he can basically learn all of the fighting styles that he wants to improve on after all by basically changing his body. It's actually one of the functions of the Green Beetle scarab. Actually, turns out it's able to modify, alter, and basically change a person's body shape and size. Like, for example, if Izuku wants to be as big as All Might, it basically changes his body's molecular structure, bone density, and muscles to basically look like that of All Might. Or if he wants to be as lanky, as tall, or as short as any other person, it does the exact same thing. The process, you would think that the process alone would be painful as hell, but the scarab basically makes sure that as long as he's in the armor, the process isn't that dangerous, to be fair. So that's one thing that he kind of has over Jaime that the Blue Beetle doesn't have. Also, it's also one of the other powers that Izuku can unlock as well, which there are also other ones too, but it needs time for them to unlock. But at this rate, Izuku may be able to unlock them in no time. And through all this training, it's been that of an entire year, which Izuku has now moved on to his third year. And not only that, Jaime is moved back to that of America, realizing that he stayed in America mainly just to see if Izuku can get used to his scarab. And also, no crazy shit has happened as well, such as a reach invasion, like what Jaime had to go through. And good thing it didn't happen. So now all Izuku has to worry about is finish up his final year at Aldera, and then move on to going, as he's now applied for UA High. As now Izuku is ready to become the hero he's always dreamt of being. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Like to read them and hear what you guys have to say. So, how did you guys like this part? Sorry if it seems like it's all over the place and I didn't go into much dialogue, to be honest. Personally, this was mainly a chapter where Izuku is trying to get used to his new powers and how much it's actually caused quite a bit in that of his life. Because remember, we live in early on in this show, we live in a quirkless society. People value quirks so goddamn much to the point that it's basically even represents your social status in the hierarchy. So you guys wouldn't expect that, I don't know, everybody treating Izuku like a goddamn celebrity wouldn't be out of the blue, to be honest, because it wouldn't. It would literally happen overnight once they saw him having that of a powerful, flashy, over-the-top quirk, just like Bakugo's, that they would basically become two-faced bastards that only like him for his quirk now instead of just liking him for him. So yeah. Also, yeah, I also still use that of Jaime's origin story, but also the one from that of Young Justice and mixed it with that of the Blue Beetle movie as well. And I know a lot of people say on YouTube and the internet that the Blue Beetle movie was shit, to be honest. Personally, I don't even think it was that bad. I just think people are so used to that of Marvel movies being over-the-top hype action that they don't realize that not every movie has to be like that. And don't get me wrong, I don't think it was a masterpiece, but it was still a good movie to watch. But again, that's just my own opinion. So, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification to keep up to date with my videos when I upload on the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my side channel, my Patreon, and my Cash App. All linked in the description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later, guys, and I hope you all take care. Take it away, Shiro. You know what to do.
Hi, everyone. This is White Fox. If you liked Leon's video, click the video on the left to see the most recent one. And if you want to see more of this, click the subscribe button and notification bell and check out his playlists. If you still haven't subscribed, do so in the center. With that said, I hope to see you again on my love's channel. Bye!